All right, good morning, everyone. We are officially on the record. Today is February 19, 2026 at 10 o'clock exactly. We are here for PSC case number 9790 in the matter of Telegraph Road Solar One LLC's application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to construct a 5.0 megawatt solar photovoltaic generating facility in Cecil County, Maryland. My name is Amy Schaefer. I am the public utility law judge assigned to preside over this matter. I'm going to ask first counsel to identify yourselves for the record, starting with the applicant, then PPRP, then staff.
Good morning, Your Honor. Thank you. Roberta James for the applicant.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sandra McLemore on behalf of PPRP.
Good morning, Kenneth Albert on behalf of commission staff.
And I confirmed before we went on the record that all witnesses for all parties are present and ready to go. So we're going to move forward. All parties circulated their final exhibit list to me before today's hearing, and it's my understanding that all parties are stipulating to all the proposed exhibits being entered into the record. Can I just get a formal confirmation from all counsel on the record that that's the case?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Staff confirms that that's correct too.
And PPRP confirms that is correct as well.
Thank you. Then in that case, I'd like to get all the exhibits done first before we take testimony. Could we start with the applicant? Are you good with that game plan?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
As you know, the certificate of publication has already been admitted or submitted into the evidentiary record. So with that, I'd like to have marked as applicant's exhibit number 2, the applicant's petition document, which was filed on April 25th, 2025, consisting of 10 pages under mail log 318-292.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 3, the applicant's environmental review document, which was also filed on April 25th, 2025, consisting of 60 pages, also under mail log 318-292.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 4, the applicant's appendices to the ERD, also filed on April 25th, 2025, consisting of 1,918 pages, also under mail log 318-292.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 5, applicant's responses to PPRP's completeness review and recommendation part 1, filed on June 23rd, 2025, consisting of 4 pages under mail log 319-837.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 6, applicant's responses to PPRP's completeness review and recommendation part 2, confidential, also filed on June 23rd, 2025, consisting of 3 pages, also under mail log 319-837.
So that I'm going to mark as 6C for confidential, just so it's abundantly clear for the record.
Gotcha.
Thank you, though.
Thank you, Your Honor. To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 7, applicant's responses to PPRP's data request 1, filed on July 21st, 2025, consisting of 41 pages.
So marked.
Under mail log 325-65. To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 8, the direct testimony of Timothy Mills, filed on August 25th, 2025, consisting of 8 pages under mail log 321-824.
Marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 9, direct testimony of Charles Walker with the decommissioning plan, also filed on August 25th, 2025, consisting of 25 pages, also under mail log 321-824.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 10, the certificate of publication for the first public comment hearing, filed on September 4th, 2025, consisting of 8 pages, under mail log 322-100.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 11, applicant's response to PPRP's data request 2, filed on September 22nd, 2025, consisting of 70 pages under mail log 322-585.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 12, supplemental direct testimony of Charles Walker, filed on November 12th, 2025, consisting of 13 pages under mail log 324-230.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 13, the errata to attachment A of Charles Walker's supplemental direct testimony filed on November 18th, 2025, consisting of 8 pages under mail log 324480.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 14, certificates of publication for the second public comment hearing filed January 2nd, 2026, consisting of 8 pages under mail log 325767.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 15, the sign affidavit filed on January 6th, 2026, consisting of 7 pages under mail log 325861.
So marked.
To be marked as applicant's exhibit number 16, a settlement status update letter filed on January 26, 2026, consisting of 1 page under mail log 326566.
So marked.
And finally, to be marked as applicant's exhibit number 17, the supplemental direct testimony of Sean Brandt filed on February 5th, 2026, consisting of 6 pages under mail log 326885.
So marked. Applicants exhibits 1 through, I'm sorry, there wasn't anything else, correct? That's the final one. Just want
That's
to
the
make
final
sure.
one.
Thank you. Applicant exhibits 1 through 17 entered into the record by stipulation. Let's go to PPRP. Could you please proceed with your exhibits when you're ready?
Yes, Your Honor. Our exhibits are 6 exhibits. The first exhibit is PPRP Exhibit 1, the direct testimony of Robin Lee, the public version. It was filed December 12th, 2025, under mail log number 325262, consisting of 33 pages and 2 appendices. A PPRP Exhibit 1C is a direct testimony of Robin Lee, the confidential version, also filed December 12, 2025, under the same mail log number and consisting of 33 pages and 2 appendices. PPRP Exhibit 2 is a secretarial letter. It's dated December 12, 2025, and also filed December 12, 2025, and it is under the same mail log number, and it consists of 1 page. PPRP Exhibit 3 are the recommended license conditions, also filed December 12, 2025, under the same mail log number, and it consists of 12 pages. PPRP Exhibit 4 is the PPRP Project Assessment Report for the Telegraph Road Solar Project, filed December 12, 2025, under the same mail log number, consisting of 25 pages. PPRP Exhibit 4C is PPRP Project Assessment Report for the Telegraph Road Solar Project confidential version, and it consists of 25 pages as well, also filed December 12, 2025, under the same mail log number. PPRP Exhibit 5 is the PAR Appendix A, the applicant responses to selected PPRP data request, also filed December 12, 2025, under the same mail log number, consisting of 17 pages. And our final exhibit is PPRP Exhibit 6, the PAR Appendix B, which is the referenced sections of PPRP's website, also filed December 12, 2025, under the same mail log number once again, which is 325262, and consisting of 29 pages.
PPRP exhibits 1 through 6 are entered into the record by stipulation. Thank you.
Thank you.
And staff, could you, for the record, go through your exhibit?
Sure. Thank you, Your Honor. Staff has 1 exhibit, the December 12th, 2025 direct testimony of staff engineer Roger Austin. And that was filed in mail log 325309. We'd ask that that get marked as staff exhibit number 1.
Staff exhibit 1 is entered into the record by stipulation. And so just to confirm on the record, it's my understanding that PPRP and staff are both recommending this project to be granted subject to certain conditions. Is that accurate?
On behalf
That is
of
correct.
PPRP, yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, staff confirms that on that agreement.
And it's my understanding the applicant does not object to either PPRP's recommended license conditions or staff's recommendations. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right. We'll proceed now with testimony. Does any party object to me asking staff to call its first witness to be able to excuse their witness on the early side?
No, Your
No
Honor.
objection.
All right, Mr. Albert, is that amenable to you and your witness?
Sure, it's just so I understand, is staff calling Mr. Austin?
Yes, if he's amenable to, if he'd like to leave on the earlier side of the hearing rather than wait until the end. I'll still return back to staff's case in chief, but just to have the witness called a little out of order if he's okay with that.
Yeah, can I get, Mr. Austin, you still on?
I'm on.
Okay, so can so yes, Your Honor, we're fine with calling Mr. Austin as our first witness?
All right, then could you please provide the attestation before I swear him in?
Sure. Mr. Austin, can you confirm that you are alone in a room and you are not communicating with any other parties?
I confirm.
All right, Mr. Austin, can you please raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And just for the record, could you please state and spell your first and last name?
Roger Austin, Roger Austin.
Thank you. Mr. Albert, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Austin, did you prepare testimony that was filed in this proceeding on December 12th, 2025?
Yes.
Do you have any corrections or revisions to that testimony?
No.
Your Honor, that would be the extent of staff's presentation of the witness.
Thank you. Ms. James?
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. McLemore?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Austin, I don't have any questions for you. Thank you, though, for appearing this morning. And you are excused for the rest of the hearing. If you would like to drop off the call, you're more than welcome. You're also more than welcome to stay. It's up to you.
Okay, I'll drop off. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Albert, I'm going to return to you at the end of the hearing for the rest of your case in chief if you have anything further to put on. Okay?
Yes, that's fine. And we do
Okay.
not, I'll confirm at this point, we do not have any. Mr. Austin is our only witness, and he made the only filing in this case of testimony.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, Ms. James, could you please call your first witness?
Thank you, Your Honor. The advocate's first witness is Mr. Charles Walker.
Could you please provide the attestation for him?
I hereby attest that this witness is alone in a separate room and not in communication with any other individual.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, could you please raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state and spell your first and last name for the record for me.
Yes, my name is Charles Walker, Charles, Walker, Walker.
Thank you. Ms. James?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Walker, did you prepare a direct testimony that was filed in this matter on August 25th, 2025, including the decommissioning plan?
I did.
And do you have any changes to that testimony?
No, I do not.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. McLemore?
Your Honor, I have no questions.
Okay. Staff?
Staff has no questions, Your Honor.
Okay. One moment. All right, Mr. Walker. I have some questions. If anything that I ask you feel is more appropriately answered by Mr. Brandt, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thank
Okay.
you. Is the applicant requesting that Cecil County's restriction against community solar projects greater than 2.0 megawatt on NAR district land be preempted?
Yes,
Is the applicant requesting that Cecil County's requirements for annual soil testing be preempted?
I believe that would be a question best asked to Sean Brandt.
Okay, one moment. The applicant's ERD estimated that during the first year of production, the project will produce approximately 12,130.6 megawatt hour per year. Will this estimated production level remain approximately the same throughout the lifespan of the project?
I believe that would be best for Mr. Brandt as well.
Okay, one moment. Anything that has to do with lower cost to customers, would that be for Mr. Brandt?
Yes.
Okay. And anything to do with a property value question, would that be best for Mr. Brandt?
Yes.
Would you be able to speak to the glare analysis and questions corresponding to that?
No, that would be Mr. Brandt as well.
Okay, one moment. Sorry for everyone's awareness. I'm moving some questions around to make sure that I get to them when it's Mr. Brandt's turn on the stand. Thank you for your patience. If I had a question about a written comment that had raised concern about potential use of herbicides or chemical treatments and the state of the land post decommissioning, would that be best for you or Mr. Brandt?
I can speak to that.
Okay. So first off, a written comment raised a concern about the potential for herbicides or chemical treatments used to control vegetation under and around the panels, which the commenter feared would further degrade surrounding lands and waterways. What response, if any, do you have to this comment?
I believe we state in our vegetative maintenance plan that herbicides like that would only be used to control invasive species, but would be used in limited quantity.
Would the herbicides that you're referencing be similar or different than the type of herbicides currently being used for farming activities on this kind of soil?
I believe it would be similar.
A written commenter expressed concern that the land contemplated for the project may no longer serve agricultural purposes once the project is decommissioned due to either soil degradation or changes to the surrounding microclimate. What response, if any, do you have to this concern?
We believe that as part of the decommissioning process, the land will be reestablished for farming because there's very little grading involved with the project, very little impervious area. We believe the land and the soil characteristics will remain the same after the project is decommissioned.
What, if any, benefit would giving the soil a rest from farming activities provide to soil nutrients?
It would, I guess, it would allow the nutrients to replenish by just having the native meadow condition reestablished, having that root structure, I don't know, kind of, I'm not a I'm not a farmer, but having the root structure of the native meadow, remain in place for a solid 30 years rather than having it be tilled year after year, I believe is helpful for farming, similar to a crop rotation that they would do, or when they take land out of farming for a year or two to let it reestablish. It would be similar to that, but for the course of 20 to 40 years life of the project.
So it sounds like what you're saying is taking the land at issue out of active farming could reestablish the health once the project is decommissioned.
Yes, that's our understanding.
A written commenter also inquired about the general process involved with decommissioning a project. Could you please provide information responsive to this comment?
Yeah.
If you could just go through what the general process is involved when you say decommissioning a project. In lay terms, what does that mean?
Okay, yeah. So they would, once the project is determined that it needs to be decommissioned, then permits would be applied for construction equipment and crews to come in and remove everything that was installed with the solar facility. They typically do it in the reverse order that it was installed. So they would come in, they would take the panels off the racking, take the racking off, take the piles out, take the any wiring that's underground out, and then they would take out the impervious areas for the equipment pad and the access drive, and then they would regrade the site as needed based on what they had done, any ruts from the construction equipment, any any areas that don't, I don't know how to say this, any areas that were left disturbed by removing the impervious area, any piles of earth would be graded back out. The swales would be graded back out to a condition similar to prior to before the solar project was installed. And then the entire site would be restabilized with a native meadow seeding to stabilize any earth that was disturbed.
And there was a comment from a different commenter that I'll ask now since you raised it. The commenter had stated a concern that the decommissioning cost estimate contemplated 20 acres of reseeding, but the land of disturbance is going to exceed that. So can you provide some more information on that? When you just said the entire site would be reestablished with native meadow seeding, do you mean the entire land of disturbance? Do you mean less than that, more than that?
Yes, if I can review my direct testimony very quickly. Yes, so we assumed that while the limit of disturbance to construct the property is one number, the actual disturbed earth disturbance associated with decommissioning would be approximately half that, because they're really just disturbing to take out the road, the equipment pad, the regrade the swales. They wouldn't be disturbing and removing vegetation from the entire solar array area. So our assumption was approximately 50% of the original limits of disturbance would need to be restabilized with the seeding.
Thank you. Was any part of the applicant's reasoning for updating the site plan that was filed in November of 2025 an attempt to respond to concerns over the amount of prime farmland and agricultural land being used for the project site?
Can I compare the two plans very quickly?
Yes. For instance, the updated site decreased the land of disturbance, acreage, and decreased the amount of agricultural land being taken out of agricultural use by acres as well, in addition to some other things. So was any part of the applicant's reasoning for making those changes an attempt to respond to concerns that had been previously expressed about the amount of prime farmland and agricultural land being used for the project?
I would say no. The changes to the site plan were more related to the layout shifting slightly based on becoming more efficient and I think a different panel selection. But it wasn't a significant change due to trying to avoid prime farmland. It was more about the efficiency of the project.
A commenter had inquired what provisions are generally in place to ensure responsible disposal or recycling during decommissioning. Can you respond to that? Or what response, if any, do you have to that comment?
Yes. So for the decommissioning cost estimate, we assumed that all panels will be recycled at a recycling facility. The one we identified is in Tennessee. We believe by the time of decommissioning, there will be more recycling plants like that and most likely closer. But just to be extremely conservative, we assumed that all panels would need to be hauled all the way down to that recycling facility and paid to be recycled at a rate of $15 per module.
A written comment argued that the beneficial nature of this project to the environment could be outweighed by environmental costs associated with panel production, long distance transportation, and eventual decommissioning. What response, if any, do you have to this comment?
I think that would be very hard to quantify. There's, there's a lot of different ways you could measure that. The environmental impacts of, solar energy production versus, different types of energy production, as well as the actual panel manufacturing, the process of obtaining those materials, the mining to get those materials. It's very difficult to quantify all that and to decide where to stop. So I would not say I'm an expert on that subject, and I don't think I can really accurately respond.
Thank you. I see someone else has just joined the call. Is that a representative for one of the parties?
No. I do work for New Leaf Energy. I'm just here as a learning experience.
Okay. For future reference, I'd request not direct clients and not direct witnesses to watch on the YouTube. which granted, in this case, will not be uploaded for another half a day, but just for future reference. Thank you. No,
I
it's
can
fine. It's fine. It's fine, sir. If you could just stay on mute, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. Another written comment stated that although the decommissioning plan contemplates abandonment if the facility ceases energy production for a year, it stated a concern over not mentioning the possibility of developer bankruptcy, corporate dissolution, multi-stage ownership transfer, or Cecil County procured decommissioning. What response, if any, do you have to this comment?
I guess can you clarify the question a little bit? They're concerned that if the company went bankrupt and the project did not produce energy for a year, that it wouldn't be able to
I think the
decommissioned?
question, or the comment rather, based on my reading of it, is that the commenter was expressing a concern that there would be potentially other definitions for abandonment beyond just not producing energy production for a year. And so the question comment was a concern that the decommissioning plan did not mention other possible causes for that could be used, I think is what they were trying to get at to define abandonment, like bankruptcy or corporate dissolution.
Okay. I guess if the project was still producing energy and the parent company went bankrupt, I don't know why it would need to be decommissioned at that point. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how to answer that.
Ms. Lee, I'm going to bring that question up to you when it's your time to testify, okay? Don't worry about getting on mute now or even later, but just please don't let me forget. All right, Mr. Walker, a different commenter raised many specific concerns regarding the decommissioning cost estimate. So based on your testimony that actually had attached the decommissioning plans and cost estimates, I'm going to go through these with you, and I'm just going to go through them one at a time. There were, I think, 8 different specific concerns about the decommissioning cost estimate that were raised. So I'd like to go through them slowly just to make sure that we cover them all. First, the commenter stated that the estimate primarily uses 2025 pricing. What response, if any, do you have regarding this concern?
So I can pull it up really quick here.
For instance, was it industry standard to use 2025 prices at the time that the applicant or their consultant developed the decommissioning plan and a cost estimate?
Yes, I would say it made the most sense to use 2025 pricing because the decommissioning estimate was prepared in 2025. It also does account for inflation per 2% per year for 5 years, and then the decommissioning cost estimate will be reviewed and increased as needed every 5 years. So I believe 2025 pricing is the most accurate pricing to use.
Thank you. Second, the commenter stated that the estimate does not contemplate increase in prices over the next 40 years. For instance, the example had been the recycling market. In 40 years from now, would your response be similar to what you just stated, relating back to the fact that a decommissioning plan and cost estimate is updated and filed in the docket every 5 years?
Yes, yeah.
Third, the commenter stated that the estimate lacks line items for the required earthwork, excavation, contamination risk, or trench spoil handling. What response, if any, do you have regarding this concern?
I don't believe that's accurate. We do have a grading line item. We have a line item to remove any wiring. That includes excavation for the wiring. And then we also have a item for hazmat testing. So we don't anticipate any hazardous materials being found. So that's why we wouldn't include a line item for disposal of those. But yeah, we do have a line item for testing just to check.
Thank you. Fourth, the commenter stated that the estimate underestimates the cost of extracting thousands of steel piles because the estimate ignores the effect of decades of corrosion and compaction. What response, if any, do you have regarding this concern?
I don't believe that's accurate. I mean, we do have the cost of to remove the posts, and we believe that is an accurate cost, unit cost per post.
Is that cost, when you talk about the unit cost proposed, based on other experience the applicant has had with other solar projects and decommissioning?
Not based on other projects being decommissioned, because so few have been decommissioned. But this is our experience based on the construction industry. We are familiar with installing these posts and these type of solar facilities, and so that's what we base the cost on.
The installation, but maybe not the removal, or yes, the removal based on your experience from construction projects?
The removal based on construction projects, yes. Just the time it would take, the equipment it would be used, the type of crew, 2-man crew, 3-man crew.
Would any of those construction projects have had the piles be in existence for decades that you were removing?
No, they would not.
Next, the commenter stated the estimate underestimates the cubic yards of concrete removal. What response, if any, do you have regarding this concern?
I don't believe that is accurate. We base the amount of concrete removal on the amount of concrete that is being installed based on the current site plan. So not sure how that could be underestimated.
Next, the commenter stated the estimate does not contain funding for necessary soil restoration measures such as topsoil replacement, deep subsoiling, nutrient or pH correction, organic matter restoration, erosion repair, or testing protocol. What response, if any, do you have regarding this concern?
Let's see. Sorry, give me one moment. So we do have a line item in the reseeding line item that includes the seed, the labor to install it, and any soil amendments required. We believe that price is accurate to include any soil amendments required. It is, it's very conservative cost per acre. So we believe that that concern is addressed.
Next, the commenter stated the estimate underestimates the cost of transporting the materials for disposal and cycling. Specifically, the commenter noted the inclusion of the recycling price at the facility in Tennessee, but I believe the commenter's concern was that the estimate perhaps underestimated the cost of each round trip back and forth to the recycling facility. What response, if any, do you have to this comment?
We did include the cost for each individual truck to haul the panels down to the facility in Sparta, Tennessee. We include the cost of fuel to haul it, the cost of the driver's time for there and back round trip, and then the cost to recycle the panel once they get there. So we believe that is all accurately covered.
Thank you. Sorry, just want to know. A written comment inquired as to what the monitoring process or system will be for the project. What response, if any, do you have to this comment? And if I should ask Mr. Brandt instead, please don't hesitate to let me know.
Yes, I think I can take this one. Mr. Brandt probably could as well, but it's going to be a remote monitoring process. I believe it is called a SCADA system to monitor the panels, the energy they're producing, if any of them are not working at peak efficiency, if any of them have gone offline. And then if there is an issue, then they will send out somebody to investigate it and correct it.
So the energy being produced is, I understand how that would be monitored. When you say monitor the panels, are you talking drones? Are you talking something else, a visual oversight to specifically interested in damage to the actual equipment?
Okay. Yeah, so just the panels would be remotely monitored, and that would let people know if the panels were broken. And in addition to that, I believe there will be quarterly visits to the site to inspect and do any maintenance. So that would happen regardless of any remote monitoring.
Quarterly in-person visits to the site, you said?
Yes.
Okay. And when you say remote monitoring will let the applicant know if panels are broken, do you mean remote monitoring of that it will be assumed that if there's lower energy, something's wrong with that panel? Or will the remote monitoring actually, what do you mean when you say remote monitoring?
Yeah, so I believe how it works is with the remote monitoring, you can actually tell if an individual panel is not producing electricity anymore, not necessarily the whole system is producing less electricity. I'm not an expert in that. Maybe Mr. Brandt could answer that better.
No, that's helpful. Thank you. I have a question about the second meeting with Cecil County in March of 2025. Would that be appropriate for you or Mr. Brandt?
I believe that would be more appropriate for Mr. Brandt. I don't believe
Okay.
I was in attendance.
Okay, thank you. One moment. And I have questions about the types of properties and land immediately surrounding the project site and the landscaping buffer and things along those lines. Are those better for Mr. Brandt?
No, I could take questions on that.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me pull them back up. All right, and if you need a moment to pull the site plan that was filed November 18th, I believe, 2025, let me know, or I can share the screen, whichever is more convenient. Does the right-of-way for Telegraph Road run along the entire north side of the property?
Yes, it does.
Will the property site be located on the southern portion of the property?
Yes, it will.
Will the property site be over 1,000 feet from Telegraph Road?
Give me one moment. I can measure that. Yes, from the LOD of the landscape buffer and fenced area, it is approximately 1,200 feet from the closest point to the Telegraph Road right of way.
Thank you. Is it accurate to say that directly to the west of the project site is directly adjacent west is agricultural land that is part of the property?
It is agricultural land, but I don't believe it's part of the property, unless you're referring to the small sliver between the.
Correct.
Okay. Yes, that is agricultural land that is still on the property.
And then directly to that section of the property, directly west adjacent is more agricultural land?
Correct.
Is it accurate to say that to the south and southwest of the project site is again a small sliver of land that is agricultural land that is part of the property?
Yes, small sliver, and it's also part of a gas easement.
Is it accurate to say that adjacent to that section of the property is a forested area and agricultural land with some residents that are located beyond the agricultural land?
That's to the south of the
Yes,
project.
yes, to the south and southwest.
Yes, there's a small amount of forested land and more agricultural land.
And beyond the agricultural land are some residences?
Let me. Yes.
Is the closest residence to the array that is located outside of the property lines about 737 feet away?
Yes, I believe that is closer than the residence on the property.
And is this residence that I just referred to located to the southwest of the project site?
Yes.
Is it accurate to say that immediately adjacent to the east side of the project site is again a small sliver of agricultural land?
Yes.
And next to that land, again on the east side, is then a dense forested area?
Yes.
Is the dense forested area part of the property?
There is a portion of it. It kind of goes in and out. There's some thicker areas of forest, some thinner areas that are on the property.
Does the applicant still plan to place a portion of this forest to the east of the project site into a forest conservation easement?
No, we do not.
Okay. Was there a different forest that had been contemplated for a forest conservation easement?
Yes, there was an area to the northwest that was contemplated after discussing with Cecil County as part of the Forest Conservation Plan submission. They had noted because there is no requirement for a forest conservation easement that essentially they couldn't accept a forest conservation easement, and that it would have to be held by someone other than them. And so we removed any forest conservation easements from the project.
So no conservation easements are planned at this time for this project?
Correct.
Regarding the setbacks, will the project be a minimum of 100 feet from the west, south, and east property lines?
Yes.
Okay. And is it accurate to say that the applicant still plans to plant a new 50-foot wide landscape buffer along the north, west, and south of the project fence line?
Yes.
Is it accurate that the applicant still plans to use existing vegetation east of the project as part of the landscape buffer?
As part of the screening, yes.
Is there a difference between screening and landscape buffer?
Landscape buffer implies like a proposed landscape buffer, whereas this would be more existing screening because it's just a native forest. Semantics, I guess.
No, that's helpful. Thank you. Will the existing vegetation that will be used for the screening be 50 feet wide?
Give me 1 second. I can measure it. Yes, it will be a minimum of 50 feet wide.
Will the combination of the new and existing vegetation that you've just testified about meet Cecil County ordinance requirements for solar energy generating stations on NAR district land? If you know.
Yes. Yes, the 50-foot buffer is their requirement.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, you said anything related to glare or aviation safety would be better answered by Mr. Brandt?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. One moment. Mr. Walker, those are all the questions I have for you. I'm now going to turn it back over to council. Ms. James, do you have any questions in response to mine?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. McLemore?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Albert?
Staff has no questions.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, at this time, you're excused. If you'd like to leave the call, you're more than welcome. If you'd like to stay on the call, you're more than welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. James, would you like to call your next witness?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. The applicant calls Mr. Sean Brandt.
Thank you. And Ms. James, could you please give the attestation?
Yes, Your Honor. I hereby attest that the witness is alone in a separate room and not in consultation with any other individual.
Thank you. Mr. Brandt, please raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Sean Brandt, SHAWNBRANDT.
Thank you. Ms. James, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Brandt, are you familiar with the direct testimony of Timothy Mills that was filed in this matter?
Yes.
And have you fully adopted Mr. Mills' testimony as the witness who is substituting for Mr. Mills?
Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. McLemore.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Albert.
No questions.
All right, Mr. Brandt. Is the applicant requesting that Cecil County's requirements for annual soil testing be preempted?
Yes.
The applicant's ERD estimated that during the first year of operation, the project will produce 12,130.6 megawatt hour per year. Will this estimated production level remain approximately the same throughout the lifespan of the project?
It will likely degrade slightly over time. Year one will be more productive than year 40.
Mr. Brandt, this is Doug, the reporter. Can you speak up just a little bit more?
Sure, sorry.
Mr. Brandt, I think you are a little soft-spoken, so thank you, Doug. I probably should have mentioned that. Is there an estimate that the applicant has for year 40? If not, I understand. I'm asking the question out of the blue.
We do not have a number
Okay.
for year 40.
Okay, thank you. The applicant's ERD stated that given the nature of solar power generation, the project will lead to reduced and more certain costs of electricity produced. Could you please expand on this statement or provide a little more detail?
Yes. So the cost of the power produced will not need to change, as once the system is installed, the production is constant, and it doesn't require any new resources or changes to keep it going. So the anticipated consistent cost will stay the same. What was the second part of your question?
And more reduced cost of electricity produced. For instance, what would be the average discount, if any, that local subscribers may experience?
Sure. We anticipate an average discount of about 10% compared to the typical rate to compare.
Would that be to people's current Delmarva electric bill?
Correct.
In the second public comment hearing, an applicant representative noted that the applicant has not seen a huge impact on property values, new projects like the one at issue. Could you expand on this statement?
Not greatly, as we don't have a specific study for this site, but our company has looked at other properties and projects and conducted real estate studies on those, and each time they have found that there are no anticipated impacts on property values.
Do you have any additional information that you'd like to add regarding the monitoring process of the project in to supplement what Mr. Walker testified to?
No, not specifically. A little bit just to expand on my understanding of the faulty panel detection is, I think historically it's been comparing generation over time per different strings, and if power production in a specific string is dropping below its historic production, that would create a flag that would notify the operators to take a look at that particular section of the array.
Thank you. One moment. The applicant's response to PPRP's second data request stated that the applicant met with Cecil County a second time on March 26, 2025 to review the applicant's ERD and concept site plan at that time. To your knowledge, did Cecil County provide any additional response or comment concerning this project after that meeting? And let me clarify, in the response that I just referenced, the applicant stated there was no additional documentation after that meeting. I just wanted to confirm there was no oral communication either from Cecil County changing in any way their prior letter that they had submitted in this case.
To my knowledge, there was no follow-up, although I think I'd prefer to look into that farther and then get back to you if possible.
So you're uncertain. That's fair.
Right.
That's fine. For clarity of the record, why does the applicant not plan to utilize agrivoltaics for this project?
Um, the there are, to my knowledge, no specific requirements to include agrivoltaics. It's more of a recommendation, and at the time of this project's inception with the landowner, there was no discussion of maintaining the site by use of sheep or other livestock, and there's no intention to use any of the space under the panels for any other type of agriculture.
Thank you. One moment. Mr. Brandt, before I finish my questions, was there anything else that you heard testified to by Mr. Walker that you wish to supplement or add additional testimony to?
I do not.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Ms. James, any questions in response to mine?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. McLemore?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Albert?
Well, just one clarifying question. Mr. Brandt, you talked about, I think you said you anticipate an average 10% discount as part of the community solar project.
Yes.
Is there any like floor on that discount, or how does that work?
So I can't speak to the specifics of that. Ultimately, the price, the rate that residents can take advantage of will be set by the future operator of the system, and they'll be setting the price based on their economics, but with the intention of having a savings. And the only real confidence we have is to state that it would be about 10%.
And when will this transfer you're referring to? I guess it's sort of the turnkey concept. You're the developer and you would then sell it once the project is complete and ready to go online.
Right. The operator would take ownership prior to the completion of the construction. So I don't have a specific date for you on that.
But it is roughly when it's ready to start operations. Is that as part of what the turnkey typical pattern there?
Yes, correct.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. Ms. James or Ms. McLemore, any follow-up questions in response to Mr. Albert's question?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. At this time, Mr. Brandt, you are excused. You're more than welcome to leave the meeting. You're more than welcome to stay on the call. Either is up to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Ms. James, anything further from the applicant's case?
Nothing further, Your Honor. The applicant rests.
Thank you. Ms. McLemore, would you like to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Robin Lee, please.
Good morning. It is still morning. Good morning, Ms. Lee. Ms. McLemore, could you please provide the attestation before I swear her in?
Yes, of course. I attest that the witness, Miss Lee, is in a separate room and is not in communication with any individual.
Ms. Lee, can you please raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You're on mute.
I do.
Thank you. And can you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Sure. First name Robin, last name Lee.
Thank you. Ms. Michael, I'll turn to you.
Good morning, Ms. Lee. Was your testimony that was filed on December 12th, 2025 prepared by you or under your direct control or supervision?
Yes.
And at this time, do you have any revisions or updates to that testimony?
I do have one. That revision would be the distance from the solar to the nearest structure offsite from the equipment pads, from 900 feet to 860 feet. That affects page 13 of the project assessment report and my testimony pages 27 and 28.
Could you please explain why this revision is being made?
Sure. This was a revised measurement. There are multiple buildings in that area, and trying to get the most conservative estimate of nearest possible receptor to the equipment pad.
And does this change any of your analysis?
It does not.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lee. And that is all I have, Your Honor. I turn the witness over for questioning.
Thank you. Ms. James?
Sorry, Your Honor, I was looking at the site plan. No questions, thank you.
Mr. Albert?
No questions.
All right, Ms. Lee, you've been present this morning for the testimony from the applicant's witnesses. Before I begin my questioning, would you like to address any testimony that you heard provided by either of the applicant's witnesses?
I do not have anything specific to add, no. Unless you want to direct that question that you said you would direct to me.
I will, but thank you for the reminder, though.
Sure.
Just for my understanding, what, if any, consideration was given to the project's location within a Cecil County priority preservation area and an opportunity zone?
PPRP did make note that the project is within a Cecil County priority preservation area, as well as the opportunity zone. However, those do not necessarily preclude development of solar, so they are acknowledged as being present where the project is proposed.
What, if any, consideration was given to the existing Colonial gas pipeline easement on the project site just south of the project's LOD?
PPRP noted the presence of the pipeline, viewed the pipeline during the site visit, and asked data request questions of the applicant regarding their consultation with Colonial Gas to be sure that they were in communication with the gas company and making sure that appropriate setbacks were being observed for the project.
And is it PPRP's belief that appropriate setbacks will be observed?
It is.
Ms. Lee, it might be me misunderstanding, but when I reviewed the applicant's ERD regarding the number of peak construction jobs estimated, I thought it said 78, but the number given in the PAR, the project assessment report, and your written direct was 37. Could you walk me through the cause of the difference in these numbers, if my understanding is accurate?
Sure, and your understanding is accurate. The difference does relate to the assumptions that go into the model that's used to estimate job creation. PPRP did review the applicant's model and does not disagree, but PPRP runs the same model using default conditions. Believe that, and we asked some questions about this. I believe the applicant is using some more project-specific data to get their numbers. So PPRP's run of the model is more base level using the JEDI model default settings.
So I'm sorry, you had said yours is likely more conservative?
Most likely, yes.
The project assessment report noted that property values will be minimally affected. Could you please expand on this statement?
Sure. PPRP has some more lengthy discussion in Appendix B to the PAR relating to some literature research that's been done on property values. And essentially, the research, I'm going to try and summarize it briefly, is a bit of a mixed bag that I would hesitate to say the research shows no impacts, but that these impacts do tend to be rather minimal. They change over time, some diminish over time, and they do not tend to be large in number. So I would primarily point back to the website material included in Appendix B of PPRP's PAR.
And is it fair to say part of what PPRP reviewed would have been studies, you said?
Correct. Published literature.
What visual impacts from the project, if any, will be experienced by nearby properties in the first year after construction?
So during the first year after construction, this would be when the landscape buffer has been freshly planted. PPRB did note that where there is not existing vegetation, the applicant has proposed a landscape buffer, and that there were not, PPRP did not note gaps in the landscape buffer. PPRP did not do a view shed analysis proper, but noted the mitigation there. So given the distance of the project, specifically from Telegraph Road, and the proposal of a 50-foot buffer, PPRP felt that the visual impacts would be minimal, and that they would decrease over time as that buffer has time to mature.
Are you aware of whether the residences that sit to the south and southwest of the project site are on substantially elevated land in relation to the site?
I am not certain of that. Having been to the site, I do not recall a substantial change in elevation, but I would have to look at some topographic mapping to see that for certain.
But is it your testimony that including those residences as well as nearby properties, the visual impact will be minimal?
It is.
And you testified in your written direct that visual impacts will be almost entirely eliminated by the landscape buffer when it reaches maturity, and you said something similar just a moment ago. Approximately what time frame are you referring to when you reference quote reaching maturity?
I don't know that there is a precise definition attached to that. I know that some later legislation refers to 5 years. That is not specifically tied to the 5-year timeline.
Could it be earlier or later? Is that what you're saying?
It could.
Okay.
It could.
In Mr. Walker's supplemental direct, he noted the applicant's revised plan to use rainwater for the landscape buffers irrigation in place of drip irrigation. I believe he had stated unless Cecil County required the drip irrigation. Does PPRP have a concern with the applicant's revised proposed plan to use rainwater for the landscape buffers irrigation?
PPRP does not.
Does PPRP have any concern that the applicant's updated site plan filed on November 18, 2025? Does PPRP have any concern that that affects the validity of the prior glare analysis results?
No, PPRP does not.
Would the reasons be for similar reasons as expressed in Mr. Walker's supplemental testimony?
Similar, largely that the limit of disturbance for the array was decreased and not increased. Thus, we would not expect new glare concerns.
Regarding the historic resources, where is the Albertson House located on the property? Just generally speaking, can you confirm the direction from the project site of where it is?
The Albertson House is north of the proposed project. It is much closer to Telegraph Road.
Okay, thank you. And it's your understanding the proposed landscape buffer will be planted between the project and that structure?
Correct.
And this is based on your review of the site plan, the most updated site plan?
Correct.
Is Augustus Brumfield House located at a similar location, or is that different?
I apologize. The Albertson House, there was some confusion and discussion with MHT about this. The Augustus Brumfield House, I believe, is the one on the project site.
Okay.
North of the project, between closer to Telegraph Road. The Albertson House is actually on a different nearby parcel.
Oh, okay. One moment.
Apologies.
No, thank you. So what you just testified to regarding so just to clarify, just so the record's clear, the Augustus Brumfield House, fair to say, is located north of the proposed project site, still on the property closer to Telegraph Road?
Yes.
Okay, and it's your understanding based on the updated site plan and a review of that plan that the proposed landscape buffer on the north of the project site will be planted between the project and that structure?
Yes.
Okay. And you might have just said this, but just to confirm, the Augustus Brumfield House is located outside of the project's LOD, correct?
It is outside of the project's LOD, correct.
Okay. So the Albertson House is not located on the property?
That is my understanding. I'm going to pull project assessment report just to be sure. With the two A names, it is easy to get them confused. I'm double checking.
No, that's fine. Take your time. I'd like to also pull up for everyone's awareness, I'm pulling up the MHT appendix F to the ERD since that had addressed that structure and it was the later data requests, responses, and requests that led to the other one.
The Augustus Brumfield House is the one referenced on page 9 of the project assessment report.
One moment. So the Augustus Brumfield House, for clarity of the record, according to the PAR, is on the property. Is that correct?
Yes,
But similar to the other one, outside of the project's LOD.
correct.
Okay. Is it your understanding that both of these structures are near the north of the property?
No, the Albertson House is further north on the north side of Telegraph Road. It's on a different parcel.
Just one moment.
Sure.
And I apologize that I had misunderstood the locations of where these are. So thank you for your patience. I'm going to pull up the site map to make sure I have an accurate understanding now.
Sure.
Bear with me for a moment. I'm going to share my screen of the site map just to make sure I'm understanding. Thank you. All right, give it a second to come up. Let me know when you can see it, Ms. Lee.
I'm sorry. I can see it.
Okay, thank you. All right. So right now I'm looking for the Albertson House. When you had said north of Telegraph Road, oh, and I'm so
Mhm.
sorry, for the record,
Yes.
I am sharing my screen, attachment A to witness Walker supplemental direct, the
Mhm.
errata version of attachment A filed November 18, 2025, and I am sharing PDF page 4. And so the Albertson House, are you saying it's on the opposite side of Telegraph Road, opposite from the project?
Correct.
Okay. Approximately where? To the east, to the west?
To the north and somewhat east. I do not believe it appears on this map.
Okay. Would where my mouse is be in the general vicinity?
I am looking for your mouse. I am
So
not seeing
in
that I
the
see
gray
it.
area labeled GEA.
I am still not seeing it. Oh,
So,
okay.
okay. But on the other side of Telegraph Road, just for clarity of the
Correct.
record, opposite from the project site.
Yes.
Okay. So when you say on the property but a different parcel, the same landowner, it's owned by the same landowner but a different parcel, is that what you're saying?
Um, yes, it is a different parcel. It happens to be, I think, owned by the same landowner, but it It's on a completely different property from
Okay.
this project.
So that's what I'm trying to
Albertson
clarify.
House
Okay,
yes,
so
the
the
Albertson House is
PAR,
on a completely different property.
so though the PAR says the same property, it really, when the definition of the property in this case is essentially the parcel that is south of Telegraph Road, based on how I'm looking at the site map,
Right.
then please continue.
To be clear, the PAR says the Augustus Brumfield House is in fact on the same property with the project. The Augustus Brumfield House would be within the map that you're showing.
Okay, so the Albertson House is what's not.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
With two A names, I understand.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, one moment, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I think, so just for clarity of the record, Ms. Lee, where my confusion stemmed from, I'm looking at Appendix F of the, if I can get clarification through this hearing to make sure everything's accurate, that's all that I'm hoping for. Appendix F of the ERD MHT review. Are you aware that, and I can share my screen if needed, had referenced the property?
I am aware.
Okay, so the property containing the Albertson House, is it your testimony that's an error? The Albertson House is not on the property as defined in this case?
Correct.
Thank you.
I will, if you would like, I can give a little bit more background on
That'd be
that.
helpful. Thank you.
I did have a conversation with the Maryland Historic Trust about that finding. They indicated that there was a confusion on properties, and there were follow-up data requests to the applicant to clarify that situation, as well as with the Maryland Historic Trust. And I believe within the data requests, within PPRP's testimony, that does get clarified.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No. And the data requests were helpful, as well as the follow-up email from MHT. Thank you. Okay, let me just. And did the applicant, I can't recall if it was Appendix F to the ERD or in one of the follow-up data requests, did the applicant also provide documentation that showed there were no cultural resources on the project site or within 1 mile of the project site?
The applicant did provide a cultural resources report. It is my recollection that it was revised in response to one of the data request questions. I would have to double check on that, though.
What is your understanding as to whether there is a cultural resource on the project site?
It is my understanding that there is a cultural resource on the project property, project property. It is outside of the project's limit of disturbance, and the Maryland Historic Trust has reviewed it and determined that the project as proposed would have no adverse impact.
Are you referring to the Augustus Brumfield House?
Correct.
Okay. Is there an additional, sorry, I that as a historic reference. So, okay. Sorry, I just got an error message that you might not be hearing me.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. Okay, so beyond the Augustus Brumfield House, do you have any knowledge as to an additional cultural resource that is on the project site?
I do not.
Do you have any knowledge as to beyond the Albertson House, whether there's any additional cultural resource within 1 mile of the project site?
There are within 1 mile. However, MHT's review did state that in an MHT's understanding, the project would have no adverse impact on historic properties.
Sorry, bear with me for a moment.
Sure.
Your Honor, I believe the DR that Ms. Lee had referenced is on page 10. I think it begins on page 10 of Exhibit 5, if that's helpful.
Thank you. I think I'm going to share my screen for a moment. I think my question stems from, again, perhaps me not understanding the Medusa map correctly. One second. For the record, I'm looking at Appendix F of the ERD at PDF 19. The top of it is labeled Medusa printout. One moment and I'll share my screen. And Ms. Lee, can you let me know when you're seeing what I'm sharing? It might take a second.
I do see your screen.
Ms. McLemore, I see your hand raised. Oh, okay. So this Medusa printout, I'm seeing for the record, a yellow rectangle box within the property line boundary. Is that correct?
Yes.
And would it be accurate to say that that yellow box, please confirm for the record, what does the yellow box represent?
I'm looking to see if I can see the scale.
I know it's not very large. Let me try to zoom in a little bit. Then it'll mess everything else up, but let me go down a little bit so you can, if that's helpful, to see the bottom scale.
Yes. According to the scale, the box would be approximately 1 mile. PPRP did some additional checking within the Maryland Merlin online system.
When you say the box or the circle?
Sorry, the circle. I apologize. The
No,
circle.
it's okay. So can we back up for a minute, just so the record's clear?
Yeah.
What would the yellow box in the northern part of the property boundary line represent? If anything.
I am not certain.
Okay. And you said the circle surrounding the property line is approximately 1 mile?
That is what the scale on the map says.
Do you see this map indicating any cultural resource beyond the property lines?
I do not.
You sound hesitant. Is there a reason to doubt? I'm trying to understand to make sure I have an accurate understanding.
This, I believe, is the cultural resource report provided with the original application.
Yes.
There were data request questions that followed this based upon PPRP's discussions with the Maryland Historic Trust and independent review of the Maryland Merlin online system and the historic resources that appeared within that system. And I have to do a little bit of flipping through the data request questions, but I believe we had one that addressed questions about this historical resource, this cultural resource report.
The Medusa printout?
Correct.
I'm going to stop sharing just so that we can have the video back to full screen. So it sounds like PPRP had questions about the validity or accuracy of the Medusa printout associated with Appendix F of the ERD?
Correct.
Okay. Did PPRP, after receiving the data requests, take any results to confirm the findings in the Medusa printout?
We did review the findings, and with the revised findings did not have an issue with those.
Okay. When you say revised finding, can you give me a little more detail?
I'm trying to.
Okay, take your time. I'm
locate-
sorry.
Sure.
Your Honor, once again, those pages in the Appendix 5 do discuss Appendix F if that's helpful.
One moment, let me pull that back up.
I don't know if that answers, and that's on page 7. Right. Yeah, page 7.
I'm sorry, can you clarify for me one more time? Are you referencing the applicant response to PPRP data request 2 or something else?
It's data request that's, 2-18.
And what document specifically?
It's in Exhibit 5, PPRP Exhibit 5, which are the selected PPRP data request responses.
Okay, one second.
It may not be helpful, but it is referenced there.
And what page were you referencing, Ms. McLemore?
The bait stamp number on the bottom right is 7.
Okay, one moment.
Page 7.
Yeah, no, I'm understanding MHT's review.
Okay.
I had just wanted to clarify, when I looked at the Medusa printout, seemed like there were no cultural resources beyond the property boundary lines up to a mile. Based on Ms. Lee's recent testimony, it sounds like maybe there was concerns about the validity or accuracy, so additional information was requested and received and reviewed. And her testimony was that based on revised findings, PPRP, again, has no concern about any cultural resource, any adverse effect on any cultural resource within 1 mile. Am I accurate so far, Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Okay, and so take your time. I'm just trying to understand or get a little bit more specifics on when Ms. Lee said based on revised findings, just what she's referring to.
Sure. I'm trying to look that up.
Again, take your time, please.
It is in response. There is a map with data request number 2-20.
Was it an attachment? Oh, I see. It's embedded in the response. Yeah, the
Yes.
Merlin.
I believe so. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my file. And the response references attachment F. Is attachment F, which is part of the response to PPRP 2-20.
Correct. And for everyone's awareness, I'm looking at PDF 17. And so looking at that map, Ms. Lee, are there cultural resources within 1 mile of the property boundary?
Sorry, are you sharing your screen again?
Oh, I wasn't. No,
Okay.
I can though.
I'm looking at the attachment.
Sorry, I'll share it for everyone's awareness.
Sure. I have it pulled up now, and I am looking at pages 11, 12.
For everyone's awareness, I have pulled up let me reference the specific date, the September 22nd, 2025 applicant response to PPRP data request number 2, attachment F at PDF 17. And it's another Medusa printout. The date on this one is September 20, 2025, so it's more recent than the Appendix F that had been attached to the EOD. And on this Medusa printout, Ms. Lee, are there cultural resources within 1 mile of the property boundary lines?
The scale is difficult to make out, but I believe the answer is yes.
Beyond the Augustus house?
Correct.
And does PPRP have any concerns regarding those cultural resources?
PPRP does not.
And I don't think I can change the current view to make it horizontal without risking the entire system just shutting down on us, because my machine is running at kind of full capacity right now with Zoom and everything else going on.
I understand.
But can you, for my own knowledge, generally point me to what additional cultural resource you're seeing on this map within 1 mile of the project site?
Those features that are outlined in red. I'm trying to make sure I know where north is.
But all of these where you might not be able to see my mouse, but you're saying the red dots are cultural resources.
Correct.
Okay. Do you see any red dots within the circle that's present on this Medusa printout?
You're doing the right thing. The question is, you know, you answer everything.
No.
Okay.
So, apologies, I was looking at a different part of the map.
No, it's fine. And I believe the response had said this was 0.97 mile.
Okay.
If you can see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now currently sharing the response of the applicant's response to PPRP data request number 2 at PDF 8. And this says in Berlin 0.97.
Mm-hmm.
Radius, is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, one moment. Let me just stop sharing. Does PPRP question the validity or reliability of the most recent Medusa printout that I shared a moment ago?
No.
Okay. Moving on to glare, is it accurate to say that no glare is predicted on any aviation facility within 3 miles of the project?
It is.
Did the applicant's glare analysis include aviation facilities beyond 3 miles of the project?
No.
And is this acceptable to PPRP?
It is.
Why?
My understanding of the statutory requirements for a CPCN application is that airports within 3 miles must be included within the glare analysis.
A written comment urged the commission to mandate the completion of an independent glare analysis study because PPRP had relied on the applicant's glare analysis study results. Can you please expand on why PPRP did not conduct an independent glare analysis study for this project beyond what you've previously testified to in your written direct? If you can provide a little bit more detail, that would be helpful.
Sure. PPRP did request through data request that the applicant revise their glare analysis, most specifically to include the airport that is within 3 miles. I believe that is Lynch's Landing Airport. The applicant did do that. PPRP reviewed the inputs to the glare model, and once the concerns had been addressed, PPRP did not have further concerns with the glare analysis.
When you say reviewed the inputs, what do you mean by that in plain language?
The glare report that the applicant provided gives information about the array layout, panel heights, receptor heights, the airport runways included, and PPRP does review those. And when there are concerns, we do ask questions. In some cases, as in this case, the applicant provides a revised glare report.
Did you believe the inputs used by the applicant were accurate?
Once the revised glare report was provided, yes.
If PPRP used the same inputs, is it fair to say it would receive the same glare analysis result?
Correct.
Study
Yes.
the report. Okay.
Yes.
You previously testified in your written direct that the FAA has stated its policy regarding glint and glare on airports does not apply to airports that are, quote, federally obligated. Can you just confirm for the record in lay terms, what do you mean when you say federally obligated?
Sure. And if it is miswritten, I apologize. That the FAA's glint and glare policy does not apply to airports that are not federally obligated. Did I understand that correctly?
Correct. That's what
Okay.
it was in your written direct, yeah.
Sure. Federally obligated means airports that essentially are regulated directly by the FAA.
And a different comment urged the commission to refer the project to the FAA to obtain a formal no hazard determination and prohibit any construction activities until the applicant produced that said no hazard determination and an adequate binding glare mitigation plan. What response, if any, do you have to this comment?
My understanding is that an airport that is not, that this is not something FAA does for airports that are not federally mandated or that federally obligated, or that have, I believe the other concern for the Federal Aviation Administration are airport control towers. And the airport that is within 3 miles of this particular site is a private airport, not federally obligated, with no airport control tower.
All right, just a moment.
Sure.
A written comment had expressed concern about the potential for long-term health impacts of people living near the project. What response, if any, do you have to this comment?
I'm trying to recall that particular comment.
It was in a letter from co-written by 2 residents.
Gotcha. Trying to recall whether they brought up a specific concern, whether it was electromagnetic fields or just general health. However, PPRP does not have concerns for health, either with regard to electromagnetic fields, as those are expected to dissipate well before local receptors. And PPRP's supplemental information from the website also has information on panel leaching with regard to contaminants in groundwater, and the fact that this is not a concern.
Can you please explain PPRP's process for reviewing a county-approved decommissioning plan? From a high level perspective, if you can walk me
Sure.
through the review process of
Right.
once an applicant has filed in the docket, the county approved plan.
That's a process that I believe we are still developing. My understanding is we would look at the assumptions made as part of the decommissioning plan, um, and um, essentially provide a review of whether those assumptions are um, reasonable, but with the understanding that the county has already reviewed and provided input on that plan.
Sorry, one moment. This was the question I had wanted to bring up to you.
Sure.
A written comment stated that based on my understanding of and recollection of the written comment, stated that although the decommissioning plan contemplates abandonment if the facility ceases energy production for 1 year, the commenter noted that the plan did not mention the possibility of developer bankruptcy, corporate dissolution, multi-stage ownership transfer, or Cecil County procured decommissioning in the context of defining the term abandonment. What response, if any, do you have to this comment?
Sure. My understanding would be that in the event of, I'm going to try to put these under the umbrella of corporate ownership concerns, whether that be bankruptcy, transfer, dissolution, etc., that within that process, it is my understanding there would be some consideration of who owns the material assets of the corporation. And at that point, that party, if they're responsible for the site, would take on any additional responsibilities, such as decommissioning. However, if that is not the case, that would be the reason why the decommissioning bond is in place. If somehow that responsibility did not transfer.
For instance, if the new corporate entity did not continue the production, and again it was then out of production for 1 year, is that what you're stating?
That is correct, yes.
One moment. Sorry, one moment, Ms. Lee. Is it accurate to say that that PPRP's recommended license condition defines abandonment as no electric generation to the grid as measured by the electric company meter for a period of 6 consecutive months, not a year?
I am going to look up PPRP's condition. That is correct. That is what is currently in the condition. 6
Thank you.
months.
Does a decommissioning cost estimate comprise the project's total estimated gross removal and restoration costs?
That is my understanding, correct.
Can you please explain PPRP's general process for reviewing the decommissioning cost estimate that is filed and associated with a county-approved decommissioning plan?
My answer to that question would be the same as the review of a county-approved decommissioning plan.
Thank you. Does a decommissioning bond ensure that sufficient funds are available to protect the landowner, Cecil County, and the state in the event that the applicant either abandons the project or does not fully comply with the final approved decommissioning plan?
That is PPRP's understanding, yes.
In this case, the final decommissioning bond amount will be equal to 200% of the final decommissioning cost to align with Cecil County ordinance applicable to this project. Is that correct?
Yes.
Will the project owner be required to post a financial surety or the decommissioning bond prior to the start of construction?
I'm trying to recall whether the requirement is prior to construction or operation, but I believe it is prior to construction.
Those are all the questions I have. Thank you very much, Ms. Lee.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Ms. McLemore, do you have any follow-up questions for your witness?
Yes, Your Honor, I had just a few.
Absolutely. Proceed when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lee, do you have Exhibit 6, which is PPRP Exhibit 6, which is the reference sections of PPRP's website in front of you? Could you get that, please?
I'm working on pulling that up now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I
Okay,
have
could you
that.
turn thank you. And could you turn to page 21? And I'm referencing the bait stamp number in the bottom right.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so you were asked questions by Judge Schaefer regarding property values, and you indicated there was something in our filing that described this and some studies that we reviewed. Is this what you were? Is this page, this and the following page? Is this what you were referencing?
It is.
Okay, thank you. And now, if you could turn to page 22. Let me verify.
Yes.
You were asked questions about a comment regarding the federal regulation and the FAA. Is this the information you were referencing when you were discussing that matter? I think it's page 22. It begins on and it continues on to page 23.
It is.
Thank you. And could you please turn to page 17? You were also, tell me when you get there, I apologize.
I'm on page 17.
Okay, and Ms. Schaefer also, I apologize, Judge Schaefer also asked you questions with regard to a comment regarding human health, and you mentioned EMFs, and electromagnetic field impacts, and some information that we had. Is this the information on page 17 of Exhibit 6 that you were referencing?
It is.
All right, thank you. And now just one other question. If you could, do you have the conditions in front of you? Our recommended license conditions.
I can turn to those.
Okay, and if you would look at one, condition number 1.
Which condition number?
1, recommended condition 1.
I am at condition 1.
You were asked a question with regard to bankruptcy and the impact of that on the decommissioning requirements of the project owner. Could you please read I apologize, 1 second. Oh, I'm sorry. I believe it's 2. I apologize. I referenced the wrong condition. It's 2, project transfer. Could you read that second sentence in there, in the second condition?
Starting with in the event of?
No, I'm sorry. The first sentence. I apologize. I'm looking wrong on my computer. The first sentence there on condition 2.
Sure. Condition 2, property transfer. All provisions and requirements of the CPCN shall apply to subsequent owners and or operators of the project. Would you like me to continue?
No, that's it. And you indicated that it was your understanding that these requirements would continue regardless of ownership. Did I summarize your previous testimony correct?
Correct.
And is this condition one of the conditions that you base your understanding on?
It is.
All right, thank you. And that's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. James?
I just have one question. At the risk of opening a whole other can of worms related to historic properties, Ms. Lee, to your knowledge, is that the Brumson House the residence of the property owner at 524 Telegraph Road?
That is my understanding.
Thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sorry, one moment. Mr. Albert?
Staff has no questions.
Ms. Lee, thank you very much for your time. You are excused. You're more than welcome to stay on the line. You're more than welcome to leave the call, whichever you feel so inclined to do.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. McLemore, anything further from staff for their case?
Your Honor, PPRP has nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Albert, anything further from staff in addition to the prior testimony that we heard from your witness?
Nothing more from staff.
Okay. Are there any final matters that anyone would like to raise before we conclude today's hearing?
No, Your Honor.
None for PPRP, Your
Nothing from staff.
Okay, then with that, the record will be closed and we're going to conclude this hearing at 12:03 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. I hope everyone has a nice rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you, Your
you.
Honor.
Off the
Thank you,
record,
Your
Your
Honor.
Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.